And I'm back for the least fun streams on the internet. uh, we're going with the motion today of, if you want to get good at something, you have to put in the time. It's as simple as that. I would rather not be transcribing this RaceX thing again today. But what I realised yesterday is that we are only halfway through this track and I've got 10 days to get it done. And the only way that will happen is if I put in the time. And I think there's an allegory in there, right? I've got good at a lot of things, and we've all got good at a lot of things in life, and the only way that happens is when we put in the time. You've got to put in the time. You've got to practice. You've got to develop. You've got to discipline yourself. And the only way to do that is to say, I've decided I am going to be disciplined. I'm going to pull my finger out and I'm going to achieve the things that I want to achieve. And my goal for this month was to achieve this full RacerX transcription. So I am going to fucking do it. And if that means I have to stream every single damn day, then that's what I'm going to do. And that's how I've got good at transcribing. It's by not putting it aside. It's by not going, I'll do it some other time. Yeah. So I think we procrastinate enough in life, right? So hello, Muzzy Muzz. How are you doing? It's good to see from you. What's going on here? Mick Thompson Jackson. I have a Mick Thompson BC Rich. I think that's much cooler than the Mick Thompson Jackson. Yeah, I would have to say that. Let me pull up where we are at so far with this transcription. Show you what we got done. Just remember how the hell I do that. There we go. Like this. Sweet. So I can't even remember where we finished. Moonage Daydream. Just finished Moonage Daydream. It really annoys me that I can sing this solo. Like, as soon as I hear it, I can sing it. I can't think what fucking song it is, though. Now, there's no avoiding the fact we've got a tempo change here, so I'm going to have to put that in. Markers, compute tempo. We are at, let's say, 95, just to keep things nice and round. Just playing that there. Nope, that is not how you do that. That makes sense. Greetings, like and bread. I really wish you weren't. We know what he's playing here, right? Sextuplets. Move up. studio is still completely dry like bread, and if it's not wet now, it's never going to be wet. Because I live in Scotland, so I've had torrential rain just today. Fuck's sake. No, it's hardly saving me time. I'll literally just type it. Whoops. Fuck's sake. There you go. RacerX only channel. No. Gone too far. Song has gone too far. That's a pattern that you played earlier, and you never used to play this back in the RacerX days. So it's a sextuplet thing. I feel he plays it early. Yeah, it should be on the beat, really. So we're just going to put that on the beat. It's the wrong button. There you go. Does he move there? It should really be 13 because that's where he's sort of positioned. Is he actually playing 15 there? He actually does hit that, but again, it's tough decisions wise here because you want. Fuck's sake. I should probably now. I've been on for a little bit. I should do the usual thing. Thank you very much for tuning into my stream, ladies and gentlemen. Brought to you by my. Try not to smash another glass. Brought to you by my wonderful supporters over on Patreon. Thank you very much for your kindness, support, and generosity. It is very much appreciated. You can check me out in the link in the description if you would like to join me over there for as little as $1. You can also now click the join button underneath this video. You'll see a button that says join. You can join my YouTube VIP club, which is basically the same thing as my Patreon. Gets you access to my private Patreon group, transcription, downloads, etc., etc. So check that out if you would like to support the channel. You can also check me out on Amazon by having a look for Levi Clay. There's lots of books there, and yeah, your support is very much appreciated. And of course, the latest book being 100 Slide Licks for Blues Guitar. That reminds me, I've still not done my giveaway. I was doing a giveaway for this slide. I'll remember to do that this week. It's hard to remember to do anything these days. I feel like I have the weight of the world on my shoulders at all times. And again, he hits 19 there. Well, let's put it in. Why not? Let's be accurate. Same idea, but moved down. String set. Not like that. Like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Like a wood carver or a glass blower. There we go. That's on the upbeat. Whoops. But like in bread, you don't need to refer to me in the third person. I am here reading everything everybody says. You play that there? Up and arpeggio. Hello, Yeti Yams. Blues. Chromaticism, we like that. Yeah, I've not announced the London Guitar Summit thing yet, Connor. Thanks for spoiling it. We should probably put slide downs on all of these because it is part of how he's phrasing it, I think. Just down. What's that? An A flat arpeggio? Triad. We like this. Just again up an arpeggio. Where is he? Fuck's sake. Da ba ma da na 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 ma da ba ma da ba ma da ba ba da da. Look, it redacted the message. Well, there's no point in you doing that. I said it out loud. I'm only teasing you, Connor. Let's do this accurately. Dominant. I know, Russell. I know. This is why I'm doing it again, why I'm doing another damn video. You know, I've got to the end of the month to do it, right? And so it's 5 minutes, and I've got 9 days. 9 days to get 5 minutes of audio transcribed. Yeah, that's doable. I can hit that. Oh, okay. I see why you might know about the Guitar Summit then. Right, okay. Yeah, all right. Fair enough, Jack. Jack's posted it. I was going to do a video, obviously. I will do a video. Oh, okay. It's yeah, slow, isn't it? Fucking... What's he playing? There's a D. I'm actually going to double check where he plays that. Because he'll do it on this live clinic and we'll be able to see where he plays it a lot better. Okay, so he plays it as a power chord up at the 5th fret and then slides up, which makes sense. There we go. Right, sorry. Let me catch up on these. Comments. Probably why I don't bother trying to do this and just search for the tab already done. Levi, how do you decide which measure are visually spread out and which ones aren't? Oh, do you mean in terms of this? I'm liking bread. Can you give me a bit more? Help me out. Let me know exactly what it is you're asking there. J77. You can say only thing that works is putting in time. I know many that put in time and didn't get better. The best thing I've been taught by my drum instructor is don't practice mistakes. Well, yeah, you have to put in the time and you have to be efficient in the things that you're actually working on. J77. You have to work on the correct things. But if you practice methodically, you know, when you say people that have put in the time and didn't get better, then would it not be accurate to say that the thing that they were putting their time into wasn't getting better? If you put your time into getting better, then you will get better. There's no ifs, ands or buts about that. Whereas if you put your time into, if you put your time into having fun, if you put your time into just playing the same songs that you've played for the last 5 years over and over and over and over again, then you won't get better. That's objective. That's just the way that's going to be. You'll get better, I guess, at playing those same things, but you're not pushing your boundaries. And obviously I'm here and I'm talking about transcription, right? So if you want to get good at it, you've got to put in the time. And actually, I mean, part of transcribing is experience. I think transcribing a shit ton of stuff, you will make mistakes. Yeah, of course you're going to make a ton of mistakes, but that's okay. It's fine to make mistakes with this stuff. I make mistakes. It happens. But what we're doing is we're exercising our ear when we're doing it. We're exposing ourselves. Like, you know, I'm transcribing all this without my guitar in hand. That in itself is a vast improvement from where I was 10 years ago. So yeah, and like in bread, it's all about making things look good on the page, right? So this if I even it out, then the 16th note, the sextuplets here are going to be squashed, whereas here they're not. So I'm going to put them in a way that makes those sextuplets even. I could fiddle around with these and not have 3 measures per line. Yeah, it's a choice thing, right? Choice thing. Okay, then we're going to get scatwa. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So let's say that we go into this with the new tempo. It's a full B major chord. You can hear him hitting the D sharp in there. Sitting there on the top. Sitting there, yeah. So our new tempo will be 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be this. It's 135. There's some, ballsing up on the harmony there. But now here he played something different. So he actually... Oh, okay, so he doesn't jump down. Sorry, my bad. I always played it like this. So he'll be playing those there. Interesting. Could fix the accidentals, but I'm lazy. Course, sorry. And then a fast pick and run. No. Been a long time since I heard this. That's a bit sloppy, but we know what he's going for, right? Which is da 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 ba da da ba 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 da 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 da. Ba 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 ba. Play the right notes, Levi. Then he ups the string. Da 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 da. Ba ba ba. Da da da. It. Just so we're on the same page, it does annoy me. The accidentals do annoy me when I'm looking at the notation there, and I'm like, what is up with those accidentals? You know, I do want to correct them. I'm just lazy. Same again. Should be a... He does play it. Let's play what we've done today thus far. Where did we go from? Okay, yeah, it was from here. let's not put the vibrato on there because he actually doesn't do any vibrato on that. My wording that I wanted to use there is he doesn't vibrate that. I know that terminology is not correct, but it felt like the right thing to say. Ma ba 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 ba. Ma 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 ma. Fuck's sake. Yeah. Got a rhythmic twist here in a second. I don't know what this is that he transitions into. Diminished. Descending of course. No, 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 no. He's missing the bottom notes on all of these. No, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. He actually hits. But I can't put that, can I? It's diminished. He's going for that, isn't he? No. Let's see what he does second time around. Does he do it? There's no second time. What would you do there? You'd diminish, shouldn't you? That's what you'd... No, you wouldn't. Oh, I don't like this at all. I guess it could be a C. Yeah, we're just going to go with that because it's a mess. App on the left is transcribe Mattia. Mattia Gentil. Now if I just do this, copy that and go, there you go. If somebody could post my affiliate link, that would be wonderful. I'll get it. Almost there. There you go, my dude. If you want to pick up a copy, there is a link in the comments section. That's an affiliate link. When you buy it via that, it's $40, I think. I get 25% of the sale. I used to dig these solos, not so much anymore because I've developed as a player, I've grown as a player. But when I hear this, it instantly takes me back to my teenage years. I think it's probably the same for Bruce. I think when he plays this stuff, it just reminds him of being 20. Oh yeah, absolutely. That's such a great point, Russell. Yeah. I mean, the funny thing for me, both minor 7 sharp 5 and Russell, is when I was young, a long time ago. God, I'm actually getting to do those, aren't I? A long time in my day, when I was a kid, and I was listening to Racer X, this stuff was so unbelievably cutting edge. There was nobody out there that sounded like this. It was like all the cool parts of like Iron Maiden or Judas Priest or Thin Lizzy even, right? But with the technique amped up to a level that we didn't think could ever be topped. It was just like the pinnacle of what was capable on the instrument. And actually now, transcribing it now, it doesn't sound that way. It sounds old-fashioned, yeah, as you point out with the cliches. So I think that's cool. The thing I've always been, massively interested in music and in terms of study of music is evolution and the development of music, how things have changed over the years and how people's perspectives and understandings and appreciations of things have changed over the years. I still appreciate this, but I have to appreciate it for what it was. I have to appreciate it for where it came, where it existed in time, rather than for what it is, because what it is currently is not, it's nowhere near cutting edge, but we wouldn't be where we were now if it wasn't for it, so it deserves appreciation for that. What's going on my Facebook? I mean, I'm glad Luke has yeah, that's why I love that Shrapnel era of playing, also Legato records, because every single time one of those guys came out, they knew what they were doing. They were trying to push technical boundaries and be the next guy, right? They were trying to capture the imagination of a generation, inspire new people to pick up the instrument and do things that nobody had imagined before. And you mentioned Kotzen and Malmsteen and Vinnie Moore. Those are all different players, right? And we could name guys like Greg Howe, again, totally different player. There were lots of guys around there that just all... Joey Tafoya was of that era. Michael Lee Firkins, another one of those guys from that era. There were just absolutely tons of them that all just sort of came out and did their thing, and some of them left bigger stamps than others. It's just the way of the world, right? I like my favourite he's a little bit later than those. He's a few years later than those, but Scott Michoud. He didn't make the impact that he should have, but he was one hell of a fucking player. So I mean, we can. You say that -7 chart 5, but I think you're talking about Michael Brecker and Frank Gambale and Steve Lukather and Chick Corea with that passionate rose-tinted glasses thing on that most people that listen to that we talk about Racer X, this is the same rose-tinted glasses. Frank Gambale sounds dated, right? When you listen to Frank, he sounds like an artifact of his time. Chick Corea has not sounded cutting edge, ever, I don't think. He no, okay, that's unfair. But as soon as Chick started doing the electronic thing, doing more synthy sounding things, he just immediately locked himself in a time zone of what he would sound like. When you look at his compositions compared to where jazz and instrumental music went years on, Chick didn't really develop beyond that point. He stayed where he was. So yeah. Brecker, a little bit more. He developed a little bit more. I mean, there were lots of guitar players that set out to be the fastest player back in the mid and late 70s. Were there not, James? There were a ton of guys that were all trying to sort of push those boundaries. Gambali. Audi Miele is a player I've never enjoyed. It's funny because now, like, we listen to that, when you compare it to like Tom Quayle and the way he teaches legato, you just look at this and you go, this doesn't cut it. This isn't nearly tight enough, but it is what it is. It's, yeah. Hmm? I like that we're talking about the history of music, though, and the development and the evolution of guitar players, because it fits very nicely in with a series of videos that I have coming out soon. It's the same thing, but up an octave. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go... Now I really want to stop. I really want to stop. Let me see how much I've done. Because I do actually have, other projects that I need to do, actual work. We can't have gone all the way from there, surely. No, yeah, that was yesterday. I was hoping to see more member badges too upside down. If you would like to become a member of my YouTube channel, click that join button just underneath this video. You can do so for as little as £2, I think. Gets you access to my private Facebook group. Why don't I announce it? Do it on this video. Sure, let's do this. There you go. The London Guitar Summit, November 14th and 15th. 2 full days of world-class tuition and performance. What's happening? Our all-star lineup will be delivering masterclasses individually, as well as taking part in panel discussions, question and answers, and performances. You can see the full itinerary at guitarvivo.com/summit. Where will this take place? At Regent's University in London, NW1 4NS. An easily accessible location in central London, only a short walk away from Baker Street Station. Space is limited. Book now for the super early bird price. Offer expires August 30th, and this summit features, well, obviously myself, Jack Gardiner, Jens Larsen, Martin Miller, and Tom Quayle, guys that I've known for a long time, and yeah, can't wait. This is going to be a lot of fun to hang out, talk music, talk shop, talk gear, get to meet some of you guys, hang out, have a beer, and have a good time. So if this is something that might appeal to you, head to guitarvivo.com/summit. That's guitarvivo.com/summit. Looking forward to it. Now go away. All right, lots of comments coming in. Yeah, but no, I'm going to say the same thing. -7 sharp 5. I think you're just appealing to emotion. they are timeless to you because they are important to you. But timelessness would be, right, my wife has never listened to Chick Corea. Never. Not once in her life, okay? Timelessness would be me being able to put on a Chick Corea track to her, one of the compositions that you would deem timeless, and for her to not say, this sounds old-fashioned, you know? Like Duke Ellington, you could argue wrote timeless pieces, but what does that mean? Well, timeless pieces, timeless pieces in regards to Duke Ellington, they will be important. They will always be important. There will always be important compositional milestones, and we'll always study them. But they sound like they sound very timed. They are products of their time. Yeah. So Richie Kotzen's evolution is quite interesting. To me, his first solo record to what he does now. All Your Dreams. Welcome. The first time someone signed up as a member on an actual stream. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah. So Richie has undergone. Well, it's funny you should say that, Russell, because actually, when you think of all of those Shrapnel players, most of them have undergone serious evolutions in their playing, and apart from Malmsteen, I guess, though he's not strictly Shrapnel. They've all evolved, and I think that's something that comes naturally with growing as a person and becoming who you will be as you grow and do your thing. Kotzen's developed significantly. You look at someone like Paul Gilbert, though, he's changed. He's had so many different eras to his career. And Greg Howe has had so many. When you look at Greg Howe's first album versus his second album, they're dramatically different. And if you'd said to me after hearing the first Greg Howe album and also the Howe 2 albums, that his second album would be kind of rock fusion, but then he'd go out and do some real heavy grade fusion albums, but then he'd put out a rock album with like the Marigold album, and I wouldn't have bought into that. But yeah, Tony McAlpine, lots of development in his playing. So I'm going to read your latest comment, -7sharp5, then go back. So you say, okay, so our definition of timeless is different. And that's the important thing. When you're having a discussion like this, it's always important that you... why don't I bring my fucking face up on screen? It's always important that you define terms, right? What it is, in your opinion, is that it can be enjoyed and learned from by every generation. Well, yeah, but I think if we take that as a definition, like timeless is something that can be enjoyed and learned from by every generation, then almost everything is timeless, because this Racer X thing that we're looking at now, although, my point is it sounds dated, it sounds like an artifact of the era that it came from, there's still tons of stuff that you can learn from it. There is tons of stuff that you can learn from it, and you can enjoy from it. So yeah, there's how would I put it? Like, what would I describe as timeless? Really, it's hard. It's very hard. What the hell is timeless? Yeah. Anytime you add like 80 synths to things, they instantly they're never going to age well. Never going to age well. It's like when you look at video games. If you look at Final Fantasy VI, that game aged wonderfully. You look at Final Fantasy VII, that game has not aged very well at all. And it's the nature of the polygonal graphics. And I think that synths are very much the polygonal graphics of music. Right. Let me continue with these comments. Angel P. Avila, thank you very much for the smiley face. Yeah, like, and I agree with Upside Down, where he says that Return to Forever has some good tunes. Chick's got a ton of great tunes. He really does have a ton of really good tunes. I really enjoy a lot of Chick's music, but it has a sound, it has a place. And I was talking with someone that came over yesterday to play some music. We were talking about Frank Gambale, and we both agreed that, like, Frank's awesome. Frank's got his sound, and no one sounds like Frank. But also, Frank sounds like a thing. Frank could release an album. Frank could live forever, like forever. And 200 years from now, he's still going to release an album that kind of sounds a bit Chick Corea. That's his thing. So he's got his sound, and it's an old-fashioned sound. And the really funny thing is, back then, when people were doing that stuff, it was all described as modern. like modern approaches, modern jazz, modern lines, modern everything, modern. Everyone loved the word modern, and we've been using that same word modern to describe these things that are now 40 years old. Yeah, so. Yeah, so I mean, this comment here we say, as in, of course, you can hear that it's originating from the 80s, but despite that, the way some of the songs are composed, some songs are composed in such an elegant way, I don't see that today, only in some Snarky Puppy maybe. And I just think you need to listen to more music. Simply have to listen to more music. I was listening to the tune Rumples. It's a Chris Potter tune. It's actually written by Adam Rogers. And that's got such a sound to it. It paints such a picture. The groove is so just dirty. It's like a filthy, really dark, almost metal, but like if a small jazz group wanted to play metal with jazz tones, it's got that vibe to it. And then the head to the tune is just, like Mike Stern on steroids. And I've always been into that Mike Stern thing where you have the guitar and the saxophone playing the melodies in unison. I think that always sounds really cool. Is it a throwback when I listen to it? It's got a sort of sound to it. There are a lot of modern composers that write material that is really timeless. Joshua Redman has written a lot of really cool tunes that I think will never age. So yeah. Then I go back to like Michael Brecker's first record, solo record, and there's a lot of stuff on that where you immediately just like, don't get me wrong, I fucking love that album, so good. I'm going to put that on after this. You just get sucked up into this like sea of sound, if you like, and it's beautiful, but it also immediately sounds like a certain thing. It sounds like a time. Kind of cool. I dig that. Paul Gilbert has changed a lot. Yeah. Oh, lots and lots of comments. That's good though. We like philosophic subjects. I love talking about the ins and outs of music and culture and stuff like that. So thank you for spurring the question. Everything could be timeless, yeah, and almost nothing as well. The Beatles could be timeless, but how many of this generation will even listen to them? And that's such a great point, Russell, and I love that as an idea, because when you say how many of this generation will even listen to them, probably not very many, but also at the same time, how many of this generation will escape their influence? And the answer to that is almost none, because they sneak in. They have been so influential on pop songwriting that it's almost impossible to escape it. Yeah. So, do I like Scott Henderson's playing? Yes, Elio. He's one of my favourite players. Absolutely one of my all-time favourite players. And the thing I love with Scott is he, again, when you're talking about Kotzen, someone that's changed so dramatically, when you look at Scott's earliest stuff, like really, really early stuff, well, actually playing with Chick Corea, he had a sound on there. His super early stuff, when you listen to that, and also playing on one of Jeff Berlin's solo records, and even the first couple of Tribal Tech albums, he sounds like a slightly bluesier Alan Holdsworth in terms of his lines. They're very like legato-y, and yeah, rolling legato stuff, which isn't what you really think of Scott as doing now. As the Tribal Tech thing developed, my favourite albums are the first, less Spears, more Dr. He and Nomad. I always say, Nomad has the song Tunnel Vision on it. I think Tunnel Vision is like Tribal Tech's best tune. Wonderful tune written by Gary Willis. Yeah, really, really fucking cool tune. And yeah, so I love all of that. And then he eventually, Tribal Tech became more of a jam band. I don't really like that era of their career. I like Tribal Tech when it was more compositional. And then after that, when he put out Dog Party as a solo album, and it was a blues album, I fucking love that album. And Well to the Bone, it gets a little bit more fusiony. I really dig that. Sorry, not Well. That's the third album. Tore Down House is the second Scott Henderson solo album. That's pretty cool. I really like that album. It's got Dolmites on there, Meter Maiders on there, and then Well to the Bone. More vocals on there, and this one, there's the blues influence, but he's really thrown in a lot of the jazz stuff. I wasn't so crazy on, was it Vibe Station? It didn't grab me as much, and he has a new one that came out, I'm sure, recently, and I've not even listened to that one. He also did the Tribal Tech record. He went back and did X with Tribal Tech, and again, I didn't think that was fantastic, but so I'm a big fan of Scott Henderson's playing. That's really funny. So talking about Frank Gambale hating the fact that he's related to Chick. He's a huge, that's ludicrous, right? Because Chick is such a big influence on Frank's sound. You can hear it, and you could hear it before he was playing with Chick. So, yeah, you made that happen yourself, Frank. But interesting discussions on the idea of timelessness in music. I realised that I have a can of juice here, and I could have been enjoying that with this dry mouth I'm experiencing. Okay, that's exactly what I needed. I'm motivated. Because again, the only way to get good is putting in the time. So what am I going to do? I'm going to put in the fucking time. Let's keep going. Damn it. Ba 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 ba. Mama ba ba ba. Slide for mate. Yeah. Ba ba ba. Ba da da. Ba da da. Put the accidental in there because I hate being lazy. I like being lazy, but I hate being lazy. Would I consider Sean Lane's playing to be cutting edge today? Yeah, I think Sean's pretty cutting edge. He's nowhere near as clean as his fans like to think he is. Do I like Toto, especially Steve Lukather? I dig their live concerts so hard. Been practicing my subscribing on those. Transcribing, I assume you mean. Yeah. In particular, live concerts. The Falling in Between live concert was a really big influence when Hellcat Molly formed, when my band formed. He does actually hit that twice. Da, ma, da, da, ba, ba, ba. Fuck's sake, there it is. Ba, ba, ba. He hits that note twice. Ba, 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 ba. Fuck off. Ma, ma, ma. What don't I like about Di Meola's playing? Okay, that's a reasonable question. I don't like any of his compositions. He's never composed anything that has grabbed me. In terms of like his influences, he's obviously got a lot of that. It's like a Latin meets jazz type thing, but obviously he has his own voice on the instrument, and most of that is predicated around his picking technique. And I feel that when I listen to him, he likes to showcase his picking technique. So I hear a lot of his technique when he plays, and I was always told that when you use techniques on your instrument in order to play music, the audience don't want to hear technique, they want to hear music, they want to hear you do something with it. So they should never really know how you're doing what you're doing, they should just be focused on the music. And so with Al's playing, I feel that when I listen to him, I'm often getting shown a lot of technique. That's not to say that, like Friday Night in San Francisco wasn't influential on me when I was younger. But, a lot of his picking things, a lot of the things that he teaches, is kind of like the Paul Gilbert thing, to be fair. Yeah. And I just felt that Paul was doing that type of thing in a context that I enjoyed more, context that I could relate to, context that I could understand, context that was cool. And yeah, I think Al never really played anything that was cool, and I think that was the thing that really kind of stopped me enjoying his music. So there you go. I have tried over the years to get back into Al and listen to a bit more of Al's music, but yeah, I own quite a few records, to be fair, and none of them grabbed me, so sorry. Well, you mentioned Lee Sklar playing with Toto. That's literally on the Falling in Between concert, and that's because their bass player was ill prior to it. He had 2 weeks. Lee Sklar had was it 2 weeks? Maybe might have even been 2 nights to prepare for that gig, and he absolutely fucking slayed it. You said it's not that they get guys in their band. Like, they've always been a session band, right? I think Toto have written some really, really cool songs. Really cool songs. They got a lot that are just like completely underrated gems. You could go for obvious things like Pamela, but Isolation is a banger of a tune. Yeah, and Taylor, what you say there about Gambale and his compositions are weak in comparison to his technique. If you go back and look at me ever talking about Frank, that's kind of what I say about Frank. I like his technique. I like the things he does. I like the shape of his lines and stuff like that. But I don't like his compositions. I don't like the music that he plays. And I'd kind of say if you think of like Paul Gilbert, who and Zakk Wylde as well, of course. Those are guys that were taking things that Al Di Meola was doing and then just sort of did them in a different place, somewhere where musically it worked a lot better for me. And I always felt the same with Gambale. But there's no one that does a good impression of Gambale. There's no one that can play like Frank. Frank is a very unique player. An F major. I think he then plays the same thing, but a tone lower. Gonna fix those accidentals. It's an E flat major triad. Zero says, I've been listening to a lot more Jimmy Herring since our last lesson, especially his work with Michael Landau in The Ringers. What are my thoughts on Landau's playing? Yeah, Mike Landau, he's a phenomenal player. Just phenomenal player. It kind of annoys me that he doesn't have more of a following than he does. I have no idea why that is, and I think it's probably because he's devoted so much time to playing session stuff. But I've not got a bad word to say about Mike Landau's playing. Yeah, tasty player. Yeah. But Jimmy Herring, totally different level. I'm going to throw some shade now. I like this, right? To me, Gambale is all chops and not much else. Marshall Harrison has stated that, in his opinion, Gambale is a compositional genius, which I don't see, which is fascinating. Fascinating, because what business has Marshall Harrison got being taken seriously on the idea of who is a compositional genius? The man couldn't write a song if someone else wrote it for him. There's not a fucking chance in the world Gambale is a compositional genius. And do you know why? Do you know like the best reason that I can demonstrate that? If Frank Gambale could widely be considered as a compositional genius, then his material, his songs, he has written enough of them, would be studied in music schools. He would be referenced all the time as for his compositions. Other people would play his material because you'd go see fusion bands and the standards that are considered standards would actually be fucking played by people. And they're not. Nobody plays Frank's music because it doesn't mean anything to anyone. Whereas if you want to say someone like Mike Stern, I'm sick to death of hearing Chromosome, but that is, everyone plays that. That song gets studied in music schools. People talk about Chromosome. Mike Stern has a shit ton of compositional masterpieces, and many of them are considered standards, tipitinas, right? If you've played in fusion projects, if you've ever gone to a jam night that wasn't a blues jam night, like a jazz fusion jam night, Mike Stern tunes are the types of tunes that get called because it's expected that people know these tunes, right? No one's going up to a Frank Gambale, a fusion jam night and says, guys, let's play Faster Than an Arrow. No one's playing Faster Than an Arrow. It's not happening, is it? So, not that I don't want to bag on. I know it sounds like I'm bagging on Frank, but yeah. I mean, even tribal tech, get more people talk about tribal tech more in music schools than they do Frank, unfortunately. And that's what it comes down to, right? If you're in music school and you need to study some of that music, you're just going to study Chick Corea's stuff. No, but it's no, you're totally wrong, minor 7 sharp 5, because it's got nothing to do with his music being unplayable. His melodies aren't unplayable. His compositions aren't unplayable. Playing like him is not possible. But you could so when you say the same about Sean Lane, that's just totally not true, because I do know bands that play Not Again. I do know bands that play Grey Pianos Flying, because these compositionally have had influence, have had impact. Frank, honestly, he does have some songs, actually, to be fair, that I think would be quite... They could actually function as things that would work in those types of settings. Like, he's got a lot of songs that I think could easily... are on the same level compositionally and sound-wise as, like, some of these Mike Stern tunes that everybody knows. But ultimately, people go out and they learn Mike Stern tunes and they play them in fusion, in jazz fusion jam settings. It just doesn't happen with Frank's stuff. Of course, I'm only giving you my opinion on why people don't play Frank's. For all I know, maybe there's a culture of hating bald people in jazz fusion circles, and the reason they won't play Frank's music is because they hate that he's bald. Like, I honestly don't know. I can only speculate on what makes sense to me. Ultimately, you have to accept the fact there must be a reason why fusion bands don't cover loads of Frank's music, but lots of them play Mike Stern tunes. Right, what did I miss here? So F major, E flat, back up to the F. I'd actually argue minor 7 sharp 5 that in the end we might agree. Time and experience makes you often change your mind about things. The opinions that you held so adamantly when you're younger, as you get older, you look back and you go, man, what was I talking about? I'll prove it. I have a Dream Theater tattoo, right? If you'd spoke to me when I was 18, 19, 20, and you tried to tell me anything other than John Petrucci was the greatest composer that's ever lived, you would have... I honestly would say something along the lines of, your ignorance offends me. And that is not an opinion I hold anymore. So, and I absolutely would have said, what was it you said? That's just your opinion. In the end, we'll probably never agree. But ultimately, now I have to look back and go, okay, my bad. Now, Frank, not everything Frank does is improvise. He's got a lot of really, really good compositions. I can sing melodies. Ba 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 da 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 do do da da da. I mean, my pitching is terrible here. He has some really good melodies. Let's put it that way. He has some genuinely quite good stuff that is composed. But when Frank says that he thinks that his compositions are too rocky for the jazz cats and too jazzy for the rockers, I mean, that's just the type of thing that somebody says to justify why their music isn't catching on. I don't buy it. I just don't buy it, because there are other guys that are just as rocky and just as jazzy, and yet they catch on. You know what I mean? Maybe Schofield stuff isn't quite as rocky as as Frank's stuff, but guys like fucking Jimmy Herring. Having said that, is he considered a compositional genius? Well, no, to be fair. But also, like, Scapegoat Blues is a tune that people do talk about that one, Scapegoat Blues. What's up, Frank? How's it going? Uh, oh, fuck me, man. Steve Morse. There you go. There's a name that doesn't get nowhere near enough attention, man. Fucking nowhere near enough attention. Steve Morse in the Dixie Dregs. That's one hell of a fucking band. One hell of a band. Oh. No, I mean, it's certainly not that you should shut up, because I have to be completely honest with you, -7 Sharp 5. You've been very active in the chat things in on my YouTube channel, and I devoted an entire month to Frank Gambale and talking about Frank and really gushing about his technique with my Patreon guys, especially in the study club where we were studying some of his actual video lessons, and I was working on his actual technique, and I wouldn't have done that if it wasn't for you always talking about Frank. So yeah, your passion is like super important, super important. Get your keep your passion out there, man. Like, because it made me talk about Frank, and then I talked about Frank and did a bunch of stuff on Frank, and that resulted in some people checking Frank's music out that hadn't heard him before, hadn't even heard of him before. So I think I think you've done a good thing there, and I think that just because you've been into guitar for 4 years doesn't mean that you're not legitimately passionate about things. And I think being passionate about things is the most important thing, right? Proselytizing things that you're passionate about, there's nothing wrong with that, man. How did I get into country music? Is it popular in Britain? There's a story for you. There is a country music scene in Britain. But that's not how I got into country music. No, I got into country music because when I was younger. Let me pull this up. I've talked about this before. Like, I grew up in poverty, like actual poverty. We didn't have anything growing up. Certainly no fucking internet. I had to borrow a guitar from my girlfriend to practice. We had absolutely nothing. You were more likely to find heroin in our house than food. Okay, maybe it wasn't quite that bad, but I certainly didn't come from anything. So I didn't have access to the internet. So when I got a bit older and started spending time at girlfriends' houses, I stayed over one of their houses and I logged on to her Wi-Fi on my laptop because I'd bought myself a laptop. And for college, I think, yeah, it would have been for college. That's where we met. And that was the first time I had sort of unadulterated access to the internet. And I found a website called guitartradeblogspot.com. And it had all of the download stuff. You could illegally download instructional videos and books and stuff like that. And I couldn't believe the access that I had all of a sudden, that I could get all of this stuff. So I just started downloading everything that I possibly could, because I didn't know when I'd have access to that, pool of knowledge again. So I was just downloading stuff, and one of the things I downloaded was the Brent Mason instructional video. So I downloaded the Brent Mason instructional video, and I watched it eventually, and I thought, oh, this sounds quite cool. This sounds pretty fucking cool, actually. I enjoy this. And then it made me think, like, that Brent Mason guy was pretty cool. I'll check out his album. And when you listen to Hotwired, which at the time was the only album he had out, it's not a country album. There's definitely some more country moments on there, like Gator Bite. But it's a beautiful album. For those of you that haven't listened to it, it's a really nice album. It's got some lovely compositions on it. The song Cayman Moon is it opens with the song Cayman Moon. That's a lovely composition. Mellow Midnight, the second track on the album, is a really nice song. So I guess I listened to that album so much and had so much admiration for Brent Mason. I mean, I've got a Sur Telecaster here that's customized to be a Brent Mason Telecaster. I had such admiration for Brent Mason that I started to want to do the things that he could do. And obviously I knew he played a lot of country stuff, and I always had respect for country musicians because I kind of looked at them like the metal guitar players of the clean guitar world, or the technique guitar players. I knew that when you listen to country players, they couldn't do what the metal guys that I was into could do, but also the metal guys I was into couldn't do the country thing. And so there's like a mutual respect. And yeah, I took a little bit more of an interest in country as a genre. Listened to a bunch of the things that Brent Mason had played on, and then I think the thing that made me really take things more seriously was discovering Brad Paisley, who is obviously much more modern, but it gave me because I've always liked American like pop punk stuff. I grew up listening to a lot of pop punk, so the Brad Paisley stuff I could relate to that kind of. It was like southern pop punk, if you like, comedy. There was things to laugh about. There was things to actually enjoy in there. So Brad was a big influence on me. And yeah, when I started to learn those things, I was like, man, this shit is fucking cool. I remember getting a Guitar Techniques magazine, and it had Dario Cortese, who would go on to be one of my teachers when I went to London. He transcribed Brad Paisley's Me Neither was in there. And I learnt that and I was like, man, this country thing's pretty fucking cool. Yeah, it wasn't a big thing for me when I was at university. I definitely had an interest, but I was much more into the jazz fusion thing while I was at university. And then when I came out of university, it was really the discovery of Western swing. Now, that was a genre that I was very familiar, I had familiarized myself with, I was aware of, I should say. But then, like, getting to see bands like the Hot Club of Cowtown, I was like, this stuff is really fucking cool. And that's like country jazz, right? So I had that appreciation of jazz. I liked Western swing. I understood that Western swing was country and jazz, so I listened to more country. And before I knew it, I was writing columns on country guitar for Premier Guitar magazine. And then when Fundamental Changes wanted me to write some books, I was like, what do you want me to write? And they said, country guitar? And I was like, I love country guitar. Yeah, I can do that. So yeah, there we go. Let me go up with the comments. That's Russell's comment. Too many notes, man. That's a fucker. The Guillain-Barré virus. It's worse than Corona. Hang on. -7 sharp 5. You and 3 friends are going to hike the Scottish Highlands this summer. But you just told me your parents won't let you leave. Won't let you leave Europe. Should be at the Guitar Summit. No, I kid. I mean, everywhere in Scotland is absolutely beautiful. Simple as that. You won't go anywhere in Scotland that you don't go, wow. It's kind of like Italy. It's just one of those countries where everything is beautiful. Levi, I've been doing some transcribing without using my instrument, and it's definitely been helping my ear. Find myself listening more to specific parts of the song rather than just the song as a whole. Yeah, I agree. As a result, it's hard to enjoy music as a whole because my ear wants to pick out each part individually. Oh, man. Now you're getting into my curse. This is my curse. When I listen to music now, I see it. I see it written out, sketched out in my mind. And I've just kind of got used to that. Brad grew up in a time your father used to use them in his commercials. Dude, you have to dig some of those out and show me. You have to. This will please me so much. And he took lessons at your local. That's cool. Kenny Wayne Shepherd, he's pretty cool. Streams about Racer X. Transcribing, you think? I like following I like following the comments, Mark man. Like when people want to engage and talk about things, I also want to talk. So we're just going to be able to copy paste the melody from back here. Should be the same thing, hopefully. Of course I'm checking. Oh, and how did I not say Taylor315? Thank you very much for your super chat. It's very much appreciated. Should be able to copy and paste some more after this as well. Ah, that is not nice. Your generosity knows no bounds, sir. We also had who joined up. All of your dreams joined up to my. I should do the plugs, right? All of your dreams joined up to my YouTube VIP club. You can click that join button down at the bottom to join up to my YouTube VIPs. You get access to my private Facebook group and tab downloads and all of that stuff. So that is good. You can also be like my awesome supporters over on Patreon. Link in the description. Support me for as little as $1. It's all very much appreciated. It all helps. And of course, you can go over to Amazon and check out one of my books. Have a look for Levi Clay. You will find some of my stuff. Wrong screen. Right screen. So I'm going to check to see if I can copy paste. It's going to be efficient. Yeah, you can see that there he's playing C. Wonderful, we can just get another copy paste. That's the time saver. Anything that saves time, it's good in my book. Does it do the same thing here? So it's almost identical. There's a couple of little tweaks that I want to make to it. This has saved us a shit ton of time. Oh, there's a bold statement. I prefer Planet X better than Racer X. Man, I love Planet X. I absolutely love Planet X. But I don't have a huge level of experience with their recordings. When I say I love Planet X, Quantum, the album Quantum with Brett Garsed on guitar. Alan Holdsworth plays on 2 tracks on that as well, actually. Is he playing Alien Hip Hop? No, Desert Girl. He plays on Desert Girl. That album, when I bought that, huge impact on me. Really, really loved that album. So let's copy this. Only hits that once there. Right, let me get with the comments. RacerX Forum for life. Yep. I'll always be Miss Mistreater. I mean, you're welcome to ask for stuff to be transcribed. The chances of me doing it are very unlikely, just because I have a lot of stuff that needs to be done. But Patreon supporters can suggest and request transcriptions. But ultimately, I transcribe as a transcriber privately for people. So if there's something you really want doing, you're always welcome to reach out. But yeah, suggestions that go up in my Patreon group are always considered. It's always appreciated. I love the input. Asked this once before. What is my favourite chord? And I'm sure I answered this once before. 7 sharp 11s. I really like 7 sharp 11 chords. I like minor major 9 chords. I also just like the good old power chord. I tell you what, I'm going to give you a different answer today. A first inversion major chord. First inversion major chord. I use those a lot all over the Hellcat album. If you look at like a song like Leaving London, the chord progression in the chorus of that is a D minor to I'm having to transpose it in my mind. It's a D minor to a B flat add 9 to an F with an A in the bass, and then to an A flat add 9. So yeah. How's it going, UK Guitar Noodle? Muttley. And I'm the king at magic, motherfucker. I think I'm actually going to end the transcription there just because there's probably one more session left in this now, which is cool. It's 18 pages long. We're at 295 bars of transcription done so far. But let's take a listen to what else is happening with this. Skit scat one. There we go. So let's just play what we've done today. Even with all the repeats. Where do we go from? Where from here? Okay. Save it. We've done this today. Done. Collaboration for testicle cancer. Frank, Tommy, Paul Gilbert, Guthrie, Garced, Satriani. Play one big solo. Oh yeah, I know the one you're talking about. I think I know the one you're talking about. Am I hyped for the new Goliath run announcement this evening? The Goliath Shark. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I'll be getting one. I've got too many fucking guitars. Way too many guitars. And what I need is a guitar with a trem, not another guitar without a trem. And plus, I have a Goliath. I wonder if Levi's slidebook teaches an actual lesson on playing the 12-bar blues so we can practice the licks after recording ourselves a track, looking more of a rhythm approach. So, yeah, Timothy, it sounds like... Oh, wrong page. It sounds like what you're interested in is slide guitar soloing techniques. Because in that I teach some 12-bar blues solos. There's full solos that you'll actually be able to learn. Would be what I would suggest for you there. Playing 12-bar blues, but to be honest, like what you're talking about, if Levi's slidebook teaches an actual lesson on playing the 12-bar blues, so we can practice the licks after recording ourselves to a track. Really, you've got two separate concepts there. One of them is slide guitar, and one of them is playing a 12-bar blues. You study those two things in isolation, and then you apply what you know about playing the blues, you apply what you learn on slide guitar to what you know about playing over a blues, you know? So, yeah, that's what I'd say. Your Ibanez still isn't it? What? I don't know what that means. Brett Garcia plays a nice slide solo in that. Go transcribe that entire solo vid. Look at you fucking barking orders. You go and transcribe that entire solo vid. Right. Any last questions? Because I'm going to head off and go and do other things. Stop procrastinating and maybe do some fucking work. I had a really interesting it was a transcribing job. So here's a fun one for you. I had a really interesting job come in yesterday. Someone wanted some vocal stuff. They wanted some vocal transcriptions, right? They wanted Queen's "We Are the Champions." They wanted all of the vocal harmonies, so like the choir stuff in the choruses, which is cool, right? You look at that and you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. That should be fun. And I'm like, right, how do you want this delivered? He's like, I don't know, what can you do? And before doing a job like that, I like to put in the research, because if something has already been done, I'd rather not do it again. So I found a good arrangement of the vocal harmonies for "We Are the Champions," and I sent a link to the guy and I said, look, someone's already done a pretty good rendition of it. And then he turned around and said, I don't read notes. And I said to him, so how are you expecting me to deliver this to you? And he was like, I don't know. What do you think? I'm like, tell me what I can do to help you. And he said, would you be able to record each vocal part for me? All right. And I'm like, no. But then I did it anyway. So there exists on my computer a recording of Queen's "We Are the Champions" with Freddie Mercury singing lead vocals and me doing all of the harmony vocals behind him. There's a choir of Levi's. And the client was happy with the job, so that was an odd one. And yeah, I'm procrastinating from doing more work like that. So I did the slide one. Like I said, yeah. Did I check out Steve Vai's new music theory book of ideology? I did a video on it. I thought it was garbage. Yeah, to summarise my video, Carlo Zackers, there is a video. If you look for Levi Clay, Steve Vai, there is a video of me talking about the book. I think it's offensively bad. It's a beginner music theory book for guitarists. It literally says beginner and it says for guitarists in the title. And in it, there are so many things that clearly aren't for guitar players. You know, there are clefs. He demonstrates what clefs are, right? I'd argue that teaching clefs, probably better uses of your page, probably better uses of the page than that. But no, he insisted on doing it anyway. Okay, fine. He teaches clefs in there that literally in my all the years that I've worked in music, I've never used. What is this doing in a beginner's book? You're just demonstrating things that you know. Why is there a huge long section on polyrhythms in here? What has this got to do with anything? Why is there a section on orchestration? Why would you not devote more time to more guitar-specific things in a book about music theory for beginners, for guitar players, beginning music theory for guitar players? Offensively bad book. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in Upside Down. That was a long time ago I did that. And I'd appreciate it if you could go in the comments and hurl abuse at anybody. I don't like saying hurl abuse. I don't mean that. But stand up for me for the people that are so fucking blind. My hero wrote this book, so it must be good. Steve Vai's been a recording artist for 40 years. You can't speak ill of Steve Vai. Have you ever recorded anything as good as Passion and Warfare? What's that got to do with someone's ability to write a book on music theory? You absolute plebeian. Has Steve Vai ever written a book as good as any of mine? Nope. Nope. It's annoying because Steve Vai's book sold really well. I know it sold really well. And why did it sell really well? Did it sell really well because it's a really good book, or did it sell really well because it's got Steve Vai's name on it? Here's a novel idea for you. The amount of people that have said things like, I've been waiting for 20 years for Steve Vai to write a book on harmony. I've been waiting 20 years for it. It's a bit that I do in the video, if memory serves me right. If you've waited 20 fucking years to learn music theory and you thought now is the time to do it because Steve Vai's finally written a fucking book on it, it's been something you've wanted to do, but you couldn't do it until Steve wrote a book on it. You've just not touched it. Plenty of resources out there. Frank Amali's got a great resource on the subject. Could have done all of this. Could have gone and learned these things, but you haven't. You had to wait for Steve Vai's book. I have to be completely honest. Music theory probably isn't for you. If you needed Steve to show it to you, you're not passionate about it enough to have an interest to go and learn the stuff. You have to wait for Steve to hand walk you through it. Music theory is probably not going to be for you. It's probably not going to work out, mate. Because Steve's not going to do all the practice for you either. Like, you just want your hand held through every single fucking step of the way. It's not how it works. So, yeah. There you go. Final question. What is included in the Gambale Technique book number 2? I own number 1. Can't find anybody talking about the contents of part 2. It's exactly the same concept as the first book, but the harmony goes more in depth, so it's altered dominant chords. The entire book is devoted to playing over altered dominant chords, if memory serves me correctly. Yeah. I love Vai, but shit is shit. It's important to acknowledge that. I'll prove it. I love Jimmy Herring. One of my favourite players of all time. Has an album called Project Z. It's awful. Some people might like it, but it's an album of avant-garde jazz. It sounds like 5 people in a room all playing different tunes at the same time, like literally. Maybe some people are really into that. I'm not into it. To me, it's garbage. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning into my stream. I'm just going to do the usual thing that I do at this point. Thank you very much to all of my supporters over on Patreon. Again, the final time, there's a link in the description. Head on over there. You can support me for as little as $1. $1. You can afford $1, right? $1 to bump up my salary by a whole, £8 a year. But your support is very much appreciated. So $1 gets you access to my private Facebook group, my patron-only Facebook group, or supporter-only Facebook group, I should say. You can also check out my books over on Amazon. Look for Levi Clay, with the latest one being 100 Slide Licks for Blues Guitar. If that appeals to you, please do go and leave it a nice review and let me know how you get on. Go and check out VPix. They've been a long time supporter of my work, and I love those guys. And the latest thing is the join button. There's a join button over here somewhere, maybe about there. If you go just down there, there'll be a button that says join. If you'd like to join my VIP club on YouTube, you can see all of your dreams. And Upside Down are both VIPs. They have a badge next to their name when they comment. It's because they're VIPs. They're special. Special people. Very, very special. Special, special, special. Very special. Anyway, let's get rid of that. So, much love, guys, and I will be back for another stream. Exactly, become a YouTube member, a YouTube VIP. It's a tough one, Upside Down, because in order to join the Facebook group, there's a questionnaire that you have to fill in, and it's very simple. It's, are you a supporter on Patreon? Are you a supporter on YouTube? And I've had a bunch of people try and join it now because they're clicking that, yes, they're a supporter on YouTube. And they think it's because they're subscribed to me on YouTube. I don't like the whole member thing. The concept of being either a subscriber or a member, like what does that really mean? It's hard for the average user to know what that really means. I don't like the terms myself, so I'm going with VIP. Become a YouTube member, a VIP member. There we go with that, a VIP. Are you a VIP? You should be. Hit that join button down below and learn more. Anyway, so much love, guys, and I will see you for another stream soon. And goodbye.